back in the old days, whenever you visited the doctor, it used to be the greatest thing you had to worry about was them leaving the scissors in you after they completed your surgery. But now, with the advent of social media, TikTok, and other live streaming platforms, can my doctor legally live stream my Brazilian butt lift, or will they get in trouble for that? Let's find out. So I had to share this story with you. It came across in the Discord channel as we were talking about some other things that were happening on TikTok. Link to the Discord is down below. Hit subscribe while you're there. But this Ohio surgeon lost their license after live streaming a procedure on TikTok. And so we got to talking about the ethics of this whole thing and wanted to take a deep dive into the story and understand, is this a misleading headline, or did they really lose their license because of the live streaming or because of the malpractice and the problems that ended up happening for this patient after the procedure was completed? The more that we got into it, the weirder and the more details that really began to come out. Ohio surgeon has license suspended after live streaming procedure on TikTok. Dr. Gaw, who practiced in Powell, Ohio, had her license suspended in November after the state board alleged that she endangered patients by pausing to respond to online viewers' questions while the procedures were going. And then it goes on to say that one patient allegedly suffered a perforated bowel and serious bacterial infection following a liposuction procedure performed by Dr. Gaw that was live streamed. And she's not a small streamer either. 841,000 followers and over 14 million likes. This article was a little bit short though, and it left some things to be desired. So I had to look into it. And so I found some little snippets of her stuff. But you can't see her anymore. Her page is private, which is mind-blowing to me because TikTok is so ban happy, but apparently her page is still up and not banned. It's just private and no bio. I remember TikTok accounts being shut down left and right for things that were just insane to me, but I don't know, maybe you get almost 1 million followers and it's no, because I've seen people with 1 million followers get shut down too. So I had to do a little bit more searching. So I found and I looked at her LinkedIn profile, which I guess is not working right now, but it led me to her website. It's down too. So I don't know how much backlash she received from this, but it's enough that the website is not working and her TikTok page is now private. But then I found some clips. So I want to show those to you here because they're absolutely incredible.
Dr. Roxy, as she's known online, shares the behind-the-scenes videos of her procedures. But 3 lawsuits accuse her of mistreating her patient.
And we'll get to that in a minute. There's actually a lot more patients than just 3, and the board lists them all and all this stuff, and it's just insane. Also weird to me, TikTok is so sensitive to like adult content. I don't know how they were able to show any kind of blood or procedures on TikTok because that stuff usually gets banned right away. So the whole story is weird.
So I found Dr. Roxy through Snapchat.
2022, where people find doctors through social media.
Dr. Roxy, wow.
The way that a patient finds a plastic surgeon today is through social media presence.
Amber Runyon says she wanted to...
I didn't know there was a huge market for finding your plastic surgeon on Snapchat. Apparently she was huge on Snapchat, which Snapchat is wild. There's a lot of pornography, nudes, pay to play kind of stuff on Snapchat. Weird things. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Like you can get away with a lot more on Snapchat, but I never thought to like go to Snapchat to find a doctor.
To go to Dr. Catherine Roxanne Growie in Powell.
Yep.
After seeing the videos on social media.
Her vibe and energy and the way she made you believe she was invested in her patients and their outcome.
Amber says that the glimpse behind the scenes helped make up her mind.
Couldn't wait to get on there to watch,
Wow.
for the day.
And I've done some things in my practice where I'll put videos up like with my interns talking or with me talking so you can get to know my personality. But I'm never going to share like any confidential information. But like I can understand wanting to like have a relationship, right? A lot of people, especially for me as a counselor, are like unsure if I'll be a good fit for them because, you don't know the personality. And so much of counseling is about the conversation and about like relating to one another that you got to know that your personalities fit. So I get that part. But this person just feels like went too far.
It showed you details step by step of everything. I felt like I was extremely prepared for these surgeries.
Which I think is good.
In for the
Like, I think the preparation is good. Like, I even have walkthroughs of how to like walk up into my office to like reduce anxiety, because you're getting a major procedure here. So like, I understand the anxiety. You want to know all the steps and stuff.
mommy makeover, a procedure that includes breast surgery and a tummy tuck.
The top and just some extra skin from having kids on the stomach.
But within 24 hours, she had complications.
My drains.
Oh, is this her? Okay, wait. This is the person that got it done. Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, I know there's some bruising with that stuff, but that I don't know what the belly button does not look like it's happy. That's a sad belly button.
Were not working in the recovery house. I told them my drains weren't working. So again, no fluid is coming out.
Ooh.
They told me just work with it. It'll be fine. So I'm not using any of my drains. So everything's just backing up.
Runyon, despite her concerns, a nurse practitioner said,
I told her I wanted to go to the emergency room, and she advised me do not go to the hospital.
And we'll get to this later. This was linked in the actual Ohio State Medical Board's report about like their research into her. She would not follow through on certain procedure things and like not document well and not give them good follow-up care, and then tell them, don't call 911. Don't go to the hospital. Call me first. Almost like a cover-up, which is like endangering patients' lives to like cover up your bullshit is a mess.
One of my clients suffered multiple bowel punctures while that was occurring. Ultimately ended up having surgery and part of her bowel removed because of the
Damn.
Attorney James Arnold doesn't represent Runyon, but other patients of Dr. Growie. He says,
So there's like a whole slew of people who have had like this situation. And, you know, there's something to be said about the personality of surgeons, right? Like, I'm making a blanket statement, right? Okay, forgive me here for a moment. But there's something to be said about surgeons. Like, and we talk about this as counselors, you know, they're to have the confidence to say, I'm going to cut this person open, put things back together, fix them, stitch them, is pretty intense. Like, you have to have some really kind of like big confidence in order to do that. Now, some people have that really positively, but think about it. Narcissists have just an insane level of confidence. Those who have antisocial personality disorder have just an insane level of confidence in themselves. Now, I'm not saying that Dr. Roxy is that. You can't diagnose anybody. I'm not their therapist. However, there is something interesting to be said about those people who seek out these really like, you have to be super confident about yourselves and be like, I'm almost playing God here as I fix this person's brain or fix this person's heart. It can naturally have kind of the attraction to somebody who has this sort of God complex. Similar thing can be said about police officers. There's a lot of struggles with police officers who are overly brutal or who, you know, don't follow the rules because they feel like they're above the rules. And that's kind of why that personality seeks out being a police officer. So not saying all cops are bad. You know, I'm saying there are some bad cops, and I'm saying there's some personalities that are attracted to certain professions that really should not be in those professions at all. And it's leading me to wonder and ask the question, well, I wonder what was going on inside the head of Dr. Roxy to justify this shit. Anyways, let's continue.
one of his clients was also instructed not to call 911.
So your belief is that if your client didn't decide to go against the recommendations from Dr. Growie's office, she could have died?
very much so.
The state medical board suspended Dr. Growie's medical license last week. The board found the surgeon did not provide written discharge instructions to one patient and found that another had to undergo further treatment at a hospital following a surgery.
And you can't see this website anymore. It is all shut down.
The board also found concerns with the doctor's repeated use of social media. Records state by taking video of procedures, the doctor's focus was on the camera, not the patient. Board members saying, quote, Dr. Growie's continued practice presents a danger.
Insane, dude. Insane. We can actually look, like, here's the actual statement from the Ohio State Medical Board. We could see it right here. It is hereby ordered that Dr. Goss shall immediately cease the practice of medicine and surgery in Ohio and immediately refer all active patients to other appropriate physicians. And then it goes on to list. Nobody said, nah, it's fine. Everyone was like, yes, gotta take this away. Some people, I guess, weren't present or abstained. I don't know, but the motion carried. And then you look down and it goes into pages and pages of documentation about exactly what was going on. And I think what's insane to me is that there's not just one problem that they looked into. Like in a letter dated October 9th, 2018, it was 4 years after this that this person lost their license. So like this process wasn't quick, and it took some time. And, you know, you can look up if there's active investigations for any of your medical providers and stuff. And I don't mean to say don't seek out a medical provider, but, you know, I think like doing your due diligence and like looking somebody up is really a great suggestion, because they might have been able to see some of this stuff. In a letter dated October 9th, 2018, the secretary of the board cautioned you regarding the need to maintain patient privacy when sharing photos or videos via social media. You responded via letter dated November 11th, 2018, that you had remedied these concerns by instituting an updated patient consent form. She didn't stop. She just updated the form to get the patients to give consent for live streaming. It seems like she's not understanding the real concern here. Again, a letter dated, this would be 3 years later. So she must have been live streaming for 3 years. In a letter dated September 28th, 2021, the secretary of the board cautioned you a second time. The letter articulated multifaceted issues with your care of these patients, including concerns regarding the lack of informed consent, ethical concerns related to privacy and social media, and avoidable complications that required surgical revision. So like going back and redoing the surgery. Based on these concerns, the board strongly recommends you undertake remedial education. She completed the education, but then it continues. After your completion of these remedial education courses, you continued to video procedure and live broadcast medical procedures of some patients, at least through on or about October 14th, 2022. Aspects of these procedures include, but are not limited to, preoperative photos, preoperative interviews with patients about their bodies, live streams, post-operative still images, and during some video and live streams, you engage in dialogue to respond to viewers' online questions while the surgical procedure remains actively ongoing. Some people get into these professions for the wrong reasons. If you're trying to become famous in order to be a doctor, like you became a doctor in order to become famous, it's the wrong reason. Like it's a very quiet profession. Like that's why you don't see a lot of medical representation online. Like there's a couple big examples, and a lot of those big examples don't even practice anymore. Like, I don't know if you know this, but Dr. Phil is not a licensed psychologist. He actually lost his license, and maybe we'll get into that whole rigmarole later. Let me know if you want to see that down below. A lot of these other like big name doctors who are on social media actually don't practice because there's such a level of ethical confidentiality that has to happen being a medical provider that it almost eliminates your possibility to be big on social media. But then look at this. Here's one scenario. Here's another scenario. Here's another scenario. There's B, one scenario, another scenario. Part C, one scenario, another scenario. And then it goes on. Further your acts and conducts, further your acts and conducts, further your acts and conducts, boom, 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 just over and over again. So it's just like, you know, a lot of times we think, oh, just report to the board and you're done. But this kind of process can take a while. And usually there's a lot of infractions that build up to someone actually losing their license. It has to be, it's not like they do a bad job, but I mean, it's a legal process. Like it's very, very slow. It's very political. And so it's not like instant kind of quick stuff. I mean, unless it blows up big on social media like this was probably expedited because of the notoriety that was being gained and generated online. This person kind of brings up the whole situation pretty well here.
This is Dr. Catherine Roxanne Graw.
Yeah.
Better known as Dr. Roxy on TikTok. She is being accused of caring about her online following more than her patients.
I think we can see that.
Dr. Roxy can be seen regularly dancing around in her scrubs and also interacting with her live stream during operations. I don't mean small operations where you just get a little Botox here and there. No, I mean like a patient out cold on the operating table.
Look at this. This person's out cold. Like this person, like it's not just like a little procedure. Like this is major surgery.
Now the doctor has since gone private on TikTok since her medical license was suspended in a 7-0 vote. She had until December 17th to request a hearing, which she did, and it is scheduled for March 2023. Stay tuned for updates.
Wait a minute. There's a hearing in March 2023? Wait a minute. The plot thickens. I didn't even realize this. Dr. Gaw did request a hearing over the suspension. The hearing is scheduled for May 15th. The state medical board said anyone who had received improper care. Wait a second. The state medical board said anyone who had received improper care from Dr. Gaw could file a complaint to the board. You can find the link by clicking here. The board will not tell ABC or Fox if any complaints against Dr. Gaw have been filed. Well, we're going to have to stay tuned. May 15th, it's March. So we got 2 months to see what happens. A hearing over the suspension. She's going to try and get her license back. Will she get it back? Stay subscribed. We'll cover it when it comes back out. Oh my gosh. Let's get back and finish this video.
The camera, not the patient. Board members saying, quote, Dr. Graue's continued practice presents a danger of immediate and serious harm to the public.
It's a public
As for
safety
Amber
health
Runyon,
concern.
She was out of work for 2 months, can't stand up completely, and she's having to pay to have additional surgeries.
I thought she was the best because that's how she made me feel.
That's something to talk about too. There's a lot of glitz and glamour, and like you get to present yourself the way that you want to be presented through this cell phone. And so like there can come, especially I've seen this a lot with therapists, there can be a lot of show and a lot of glamour, thinking like, oh my gosh, this is the ultimate authority on mental health or plastic surgery or being a doctor, whatever, because they have such a big following, right? There's so many. And I wish you could have met one of my supervisors. His name was Dr. Robert Belay. He's just this old guy who wore suspenders. You know, he's like 83 years old when I was working with him. And he was just brilliant, just a brilliant guy. But he wasn't anywhere on social media. He didn't have a big following, but he had talked with, spent time with, shared hotel rooms with some of the greatest. He actually shared a room with Carl Rogers. He had Carl Rogers' book On Becoming a Person signed. The front cover said, you know, to my friend Bob, Carl Rogers. And I was like, holy shit, this is the godfather of modern psychotherapy. And I was like, yeah, we should, you know, we'd spend time together, share planes. We'd always go out to California for the Ericksonian conference. I'm like, whoa, his supervisor was Virginia Satir. So it's just like, but nobody knows who he is, right? He just had a little podunk practice in Castleberry, Florida, which was amazing, right? So a lot of these people who actually are the resident authority on some of these things, you'll never see them online because they don't need to prove themselves. They don't have anything to show, and there's no ego to it. So you gotta balance that and really look a little bit deeper. And I think it's something, as medical professionals become more and more present on the platform and on the app, it's something we're going to run into a lot more. And I think bringing awareness to the consumer about these things is one thing I'm kind of passionate about, and I hope that this video kind of helps with.
I tried calling Dr. Roxy's office multiple times,
sure.
and this morning stopped by her office, but they declined to comment. But today, the state board says she has 12 more days to request a hearing on her license suspension.
And we found out she
now,
did.
Many may be wondering, where do you find a doctor that is reputable and trusted? Well, I spoke to a local surgeon about that.
Isn't that the question? Where do you find a doctor that's reputable and respected?
And he warns against using social media as your main tool for finding a trusted
I think it's great
physician.
advice.
And the problem with social media is that there really has been no regulation by either the local, state, or even the federal level on what is presented.
Instead, Dr. Robert Hauser, who you just heard from, says do your research. You can go to the aestheticsociety.org where they have board certified plastic surgeons for guidance. You can ask referrals and also ask your doctor questions before any procedure happens. In Columbus, Ashley Bornanson, 10 TV News.
This is from Columbus. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and just so you know, all of that medical records stuff, like my license number, anybody else's license number, is all public record online, and you can see if there's any active complaints or any investigations that ever happened in their record. Like if you look up mine, it'll give you my license number, it'll tell you my name, it'll tell you where my practice is, and it will tell you no active reports or, you know, clean license, clear. And so that's something that you can really look to help. And then asking around and hearing what other people say. Really, you know, it seems a little bit old-fashioned, word of mouth, but word of mouth is one of the best. You know, you ask somebody, hey, how did they treat you? How was that? And that's a really great way, because someone can present themselves any way that they want on social media. But if you look into it and talk to people about their actual personal experience, you might learn just a little bit more. Hope that helps. Hope that keeps you safe. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.